is NXAJ. Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Start of the W8AL net, the Canton Amateur Radio Club net actually. Apologize, a couple minutes late. I changed out the mic, had a signal report of low modulation last week. Don't know if this makes it any better. Roll call. What we'll do, we'll just go down the roster, call out, throw out your call sign, I'll write it down. If anybody doubles, I'll come back and ask for the one that I did not hear. So go ahead, starting the check-ins with call signs. Go ahead.
8 Kilo Zulu Juliet, Joe in Alliance.
Alpha 8, Mike November Tango, Tom in Canton.
RSS, John, Canton. On the control, here is K8AGB, Kilo 8, Alpha Golf Bravo. From N8PW, Bill in Canton.
Check-in. The last one was Bill, showing off his new Echo mic. Any other check-ins?
Bravo 8, Mike Bravo Oscar, Fred in North Canton. 8RH, Gene in Akron. Perry in Perry Township.
Question mark, go ahead. A very poor copy, try and move to a different location. November 8th, Victor X-Ray, Quebec, Perry. Any other check-ins?
Kilo Echo 8, Oscar, Foxtrot Oscar, Jerry in Massillon.
Real quick, and then we'll ask for late check-in. Kilo Echo 8, Kilo Zulu Juliet, Joe. Kilo Alpha 8, Mike November Tango, Tom. Kilowatt 8 ISS, John. Kilowatt 8 Alpha Golf Bravo, Dennis. November 8 Papa Whiskey, Bill. 8, management by objective, Fred. Alpha Charlie 8, Romeo Hotel, Gene. November 8, VXQ, Barry. Whiskey 8, JKC, Justin. Last is Kilo Echo 8, Oscar Fox Oscar, Jerry. Any others?
Kilo 8, Papa India November, Dirk and Jackson Township.
Work it out. Kilo 8, Papa India November, go ahead.
Might have been having some audio difficulties. I think the hum was out of his unit.
So it was doubled here. Sounded like that kind of a growl, you know. Okay, we'll pause for late check-ins in a few moments. Welcome you all tonight. Name here is Dale, NXAJ. Welcome you all tonight to our weekly net, and quite a good check-in roster. I'll go through the list once again and call out asking for any short traffic. At the end of that round, we'll do another round looking for any longer form traffic. So first call goes out to Kilo Echo 8, Kilo Zulu Juliet. Joe, any traffic?
Traffic at this time. I might later on.
Alpha 8, Mike November Tango. Tom?
Good evening, everybody. I have no real traffic at this point. Maybe a little bit later. KA8MNT.
India Sierra, John.
Thanks. NX8J, K8ISS, no traffic at this time.
Alpha Golf Bravo, Dennis.
Control, this is K8AGB. I've got an interference finding here in my home station that after you go down the list, I'd like to share. And it radiates right on this frequency. This is K8AGB.
Thank you, Dennis. Yeah, you are first on the roster on the second go-around. November 8, Papa Whiskey. Any traffic for the net?
PW, good evening, Dale. The only thing I have is we need to be developing a list of operators if we want to provide the Hall of Fame special event station the first weekend in August. So if anybody wants to operate a special event station, I'll take their names here tonight, and you can tell them to contact me by email or by phone. This is N8PW.
The list heard what Bill had to say there. Assuming the activities are scheduled and proceed as such, Bill is seeking operators to help run the special event station. I sure hate to see that one fall through the cracks. Okay, Whiskey Delta 8, Mike Bravo Oscar Fred. Any traffic for the net?
But I'm interested to hear what Dennis has to say about his interference. Over.
Alpha Charlie 8, Romeo Hotel. Gene, any traffic?
AC8RH, no real traffic. Just want to say hi to everyone in the net. Back to net control.
Thank you. November 8, Victor X-Ray Quebec. Perry.
BXQ. Perry, I'll say hello to everybody on the net, and boy, we got a good turnout. This might be something we might want to consider, every week except for the meeting night. It sounds like a good idea. So I'll turn things back to the net, N8BXQ.
Comments, Barry. Yeah, we're going to try running it every week. to see what happens then the once a month during club night, assuming we cannot get into the EOC. We will have our club meeting here on this repeater. Whiskey 8, Juliet Kilowatt Charlie. Justin, any traffic?
I do have traffic. My one.
It's that time of year again. Bill brought it up, so we're going to ask everybody that April, and that's a couple months away, but if you volunteered in the past, you have this contact information. If not, HOFHAMS.info has that information for you.
Sounds like you whipped up a web page. I appreciate that, Justin. Kilowatt Echo 8, Oscar Fox Oscar. Jerry, any traffic for the net?
Good evening, everybody. It's good to hear everybody's voice. I hope everybody is making it in spite of the virus, and I hope that we're all keeping our 2 meters distance away from other people as we're supposed to do. We did have a little excitement here at my place this last weekend. I take a medicine that doesn't allow me to get up on top of the roof anymore. It's a blood thinner. And I had 3 men here from the Maslin Club come out to my home this past weekend when the weather was nice, and these gentlemen put my outdoor aerial up on the roof. And I just thought it was a great testimony to what this particular hobby is all about, and how people that are newer to the hobby, like myself, frequently, get schooled sometimes. Sometimes we get shown, sometimes we get taught, or we're given something to read, but we're brought along in the hobby, and we help each other. And so it was a wonderful time here. That's all I've got. Everybody have a great night. This is Kilo, Echo 8, Oscar, Foxtrot, Oscar. This is Jerry. I am on the side, but I'm listening.
Thanks for that report, Jerry. If I might ask, what kind of antenna was it, and are you using it at this moment? Over.
Yes, sir. It was a tram antenna. I actually had a chance to talk with the fella down in Texas where they're made because there was a question as to whether or not this particular antenna was in it for the long haul. Some folks had reported that they had gotten water damage in this particular antenna, and I received assurances from the tram folks that had been taken care of and that problem had been resolved. And I am using the antenna now, and I'm using about 30 watts. Over.
Well, your signal sounds excellent. Plenty of RF getting into the machine, and the audio modulation, everything sounds first rate. Good job there. Last on the list is Kilowatt 8, Papa India November. Dirk, any traffic for the net?
Good afternoon, everybody. K8PIN here, Dirk in Jackson Township. No traffic for the net. Thank you very much for your time, and back to net control.
Okay, at this time, any late check-ins? Late check-ins.
Echo.
You're in there, Whiskey 8 Victor Echo. Roger, you were about 95% copy. And I heard it, November 2 Echo. We may have spoken last week, but you were about 50% copy. Could you try again?
Apologies, it's November 2, Echo Zulu Foxtrot, Matthew in Jackson Township. This is better.
If I recall last week, we had some weather coming, and you might have been down in the basement. Someone was, and yeah, we did have quite a mess last Wednesday. We'll get back to that. We'll now do second round here, round number 2, and Dennis, Kilowatt 8 Alpha Golf Bravo, has an interesting tidbit about some RFI. Dennis, it's all yours. Stepped away. We'll give him a minute. Next item was Bill, NAPW. You talked about the sign up for the HOF. You pretty well covered everything. I would ask if there have been any people signed up thus far. Do you have any operators so far, Bill? Go.
Dave from N8PW. No, we were going to circulate a sign-up sheet at the last meeting and the meeting this month, but of course we weren't at the EOC and there was nobody to sign up. So consequently, this is involved predominantly sideband HF. You get to be the control operator, or I'll be the control operator, and anybody who wants to make contacts as a special event station needs to let us know when you want to operate and that type of thing, what band you want to operate, which would sincerely dictate the time of day. But they need to contact me. I'll be developing this list between now and the first weekend in August. Back to you, Dale.
Thank you, Bill. And I suspect the location is your home QTH on 21st Street. Roger?
True. I have offered to host the event and cook lunch or dinner for anybody who wants to come. Also, we have the option, if we've got other HF stations in the club, we can rotate that and allow them, other operators who don't want to come here would rather work at home, give them the opportunity to do that. Our station here, though, is going to be transmitting at 1,500 watts, a single sideband on 40 meters and 20 meters. If, Lord willing, and sunspots appear, 15 meters also. But that would be something between the hours of, say, 9 o'clock in the morning until about 7, 8 o'clock at night. So we need several operators to sign up so that one person isn't stuck here the whole time. This is an advertised special event, and this year is very special because of the 100th anniversary. N8PW.
To that event, and that's all good information. If I might request our webmaster to put the essentials somewhere where people can review, perhaps communication via the Ham Club online or something on the W8AL website, and going to Whiskey 8 JKC. I believe you said you had a sign-up location set. Now, is this for the same exact event that Bill was referring to, Justin?
No, Dale, it's for the both parades, the community and the grand parade. Charlie 8 Delta Mike Quebec. Ed from Canton, the remote check-in on Facebook. The HOFhams.info is for the sign-ups for the parade. If you have any questions, there's email and wait on there.
Up the misconception. Kilo Charlie 8 Delta Mike Quebec. Ed in North Canton. I do know an Ed in North Canton. I'm wondering if it is Mr. Thomas, and if so, long-time partner. Nice to chat with you. All right. Any other longer form traffic? Well, we never got Dennis, so we're going to go back to Kilowatt 8 Alpha Golf Bravo. If you're back in the area in the shack, Dennis, we'd love to hear about the RFI investigation. Go.
Hey, Dale, NXAJ K8AGB. Many of you know I've got bitten by the non-voice digital mode FT8 on the low bands, and I have a little black box. It's called a SIG-Link, S-I-N-G, Signa-Link, a little black box. It's a little interface unit that plugs into the USB port of my computer, and then the other cord plugs into whatever radio I'm using. Let me pause here. Well, from time to time when I've had the 2-meter radio, the FT8800, setting on 146.79, I would hear a weak signal, and it was enough to open the squelch. And then it would go away, and then it would come back. Doing some detective work here at home, check the home station first. 8AGB continuing, here I found that this little signal link interface unit radiates a carrier on 146.790. And if I unplug the power, of course the unit is dead and my interference goes away. So the lesson is check things here at home first before I go looking outside. K8AGB.
I'm going to guess that there's a little computer in the box, and it has an oscillator, and that oscillator has a harmonic, would just be my guess. And it's just curious, an accessory sold for ham use has a harmonic or a spur within a ham band. Sounds like it was pretty weak, but was it on a channel that is commonly used, or was it just something out of band that you didn't really care about?
146.790, the transmit frequency of this W8AL repeater.
Yeah, that's an important channel. Interesting. I don't know. Is it worth contacting the manufacturer and just mentioning it?
I hadn't even got that far yet, Dale. I don't know. Maybe they think low-band digital operators don't work 2 meters. Although this could be plugged into a UHF VHF radio just as easy as a low-band radio.
Interesting story, and we thank you for that. And now, let's talk about the storm last week. Just a quick call out. I'm wondering if anybody had antenna damage or anything to report about the little mini tornado that went through the area. Over.
This is KD8RDY.
Kilo Delta 8 RDY. Thanks for checking in. We were just asking if anyone in the group had any direct experience, any damages, any comments about the winds that occurred about 1 week ago tonight. I was listening to the traffic, and I think I did hear a couple familiar call signs. I know I heard Dave Selby on, and it seemed like most of the action was south of us. And Justin, I think I heard you on too.
W8AL, I did want to report on my experience with all the winds and everything. Nothing happened that night, but the next morning a tree fell across the power lines and all of our telephone lines, about 3 houses down, and my internet has been off for a week. They finally got it working again today, thanks to AT&T.
Was electricity power off for the same time, Doug?
Power was not off until they came out. The power company had to come out. One of the 3 main lines had broke, so they had to turn it off to fix that. But for some reason, they did that right away. But for some reason, it took AT&T a week to get out here and fix the internet.
Who knows? They probably have their hands full, and they probably have a priority list. Who knows where residential users are on that list? I suspect it might be pretty low. All right, one more call for any comments, observations, lessons learned on the winds that went through a week ago. Good. Well, I've got a real brief survey question. I'll just throw out a call. Well, I don't know how I want to do this. I'm just curious about who's wearing a mask and who is not when you're in public. Public meaning outside the home or outside the workplace, like maybe a shopping center, not in a car. Doesn't make a lot of sense to wear a mask in a car. I'll start with my comments. Going to Giant Eagle, Walmart, usual places during the week. Giant Eagle was maybe 75% compliance among the customers. The Walmart out near Louisville, out that way, was perhaps 15-20% compliance amongst customers. I didn't see too many of the hired help wearing anything. And just wondering how the rest of the group might feel about that, if they are in fact diligently wearing their masks when they are out in public, or I'll take any comments as long as they don't devolve into a political discussion. NXAJ, back to the group.
Can you copy? I'm mobile here. I'm just on the way back from Big Lots to get some batteries for my HT.
While you were inside Big Lots, which is a public place with lots of people, number one, were there any restrictions on getting in, like people counting customers and holding that to a limit, or anything of that nature? And once you were in, did you see any security measures, health security measures in place, Roger? Go ahead.
I was in a rush to get batteries for this HT. I do have a mask. I usually wear it, but I ran in Big Lots and forgot about it. There was a woman in front of me at the checkout, and she had a mask on, but she was with another lady that didn't have a mask on. Attendants, the lady at the cash register didn't have a mask on. So I also, I was at the drugstore on Hills and Dales, Discount Drug Mart, corner Hills and Dales and Dressler, and or Woodlawn, I guess. And they do have a screen up, a plastic screen up, but I'd say out of the 10 people I saw, I think 2 or 3 of them had masks. Back to you, Dale.
For observation. Any other amateurs here on the net have a similar observation that they'd like to share? Over.
Dale, K8AGB here. This is K8AGB. I have a mask. Matter of fact, so does Lois. She introduced me to her sewing machine last week, and we've made several for both of us. And whenever we go out for fresh air or go out to get our dinner or any place else where I leave the vehicle, I wear my mask. Like my credit union or my favorite Dunkin' Donuts store or the post office, and it works good.
Comments. I'll throw in another one. The first time it really feels weird going in there. You feel like, I don't know how to describe it, like a bank robber maybe. But after a while, it's the new normal, sad to say, and no one bats an eye. So who knows how long this could go on. I'll refer back to something that happened 102 years ago with the Spanish flu, the so-called Spanish flu epidemic. It started early in 1918, and by late summer, people were so tired of precautions, and the transmission had diminished that they relaxed their guard. They let their foot off the gas pedal, if you will. And then all of a sudden, the war, World War I, ended. There were celebrations, crowds, parades. Guess what? The resulting infections right after those parades and crowds killed more people than had died in World War I. So says Wikipedia. But any other comments about the health situation, masks, or anything that you'd like to share with the group that might make us a little safer?
Mike Bravo Oscar.
Oscar, Fred, go ahead.
Well, it's good to hear the group on. Dale, you might remember the last time you and I met was on a SARTA bus. Well, it was a water bus up there at the Dalton Village Transit Center. Yeah, and you could go actually and put your cup up under the exhaust and drink the water out of it. It was that pure.
That day and that work project very well. That was the hydrogen-powered bus, the electric bus. And I do remember a gentleman talking on the bus said he was a ham, so that was you. I have a horrible memory for faces and names, but now that you mention it, I'm glad to meet your acquaintance again here on the radio. So I still see a lot of those hydrogen buses tooling around constantly. Wondering if maybe you have some inside info, if those things are holding up, or if they're a maintenance nightmare, or anything if you're allowed to say. Be just interested to hear anything about them. Go ahead.
Well, as far as I know, they're doing really well. They don't pollute the air around them, but of course it does take electricity to produce the hydrogen. The other fellow I've got a heard sign on here was W8VE Roger. So one of the good news about the social distancing is I don't have to worry about him stealing my hymnal in church and getting my hymnal polluted with the COVID-19s.
No one's got arms that's 6 foot long. Well, you bring up a good point. How about church? Are you noticing, is anyone in the group noticing diminished attendance, or have you decided to sit it out for a while? Just interested to know how the rank and file is dealing with all this. Over.
we're not attending at all.
Christ Presbyterian Church. This is Roger, W8BE, by the way, Fred, and Bill, N8PW. We're having church services, but the only people are there are the three pastors, the music director, the organist, and the youth director. And it's on YouTube. So our church, our last week, we had Good Friday, Monday, Thursday, and Easter. Yeah, Resurrection Easter on YouTube. Also, we are hooked up with the station called WHBC. We just signed a contract with them, and so we were on the radio at the same time. So it's been a wonderful, the church did a great job of conducting services, but yeah, there was, so we attended and not attended. It was a virtual church. Back to you, Dale. This is Roger, W8BE.
I thought you said one time you went to that church, and yes, I'm familiar with their broadcast start back on the station. I've been here every morning, keeping an eyeball on it, working with Brian, he's your sound guy out there. And I wondered, you know, I can only hear, and what I hear coming out of the speakers, it sounds like a normal service, but I thought an empty church, it's a beautiful church, it's sad that it's empty like that. So no choir then, just the organist and the pastor, right?
No. What we did, if I can expound a little bit, the choir director about 2.5 weeks ago sent us choir members, Fred included, and we did a virtual choir. We did a virtual choir for our introit. Now the introit's the beginning of the church service. The choir director wrote some music, I think called Woman Weeping in the Garden, and break here. He sent us a email, gave us a link, and on the link it had the different parts. Now Fred and I are baritones, so we clicked on the different part, and it was like the organist played the tune for us, because we'd never heard the tune before. At the same time, he sent us a PDF file of the music, and so I printed out the music. Then, so what he did, we started, and another link he gave us was he's directing us. So what we did on our iPhones, we sang individually into our iPhone at any time we want. We had about a 3 or 4 day period. And we sang into the iPhone. I actually did it about 7 times. I wasn't happy with what I did. And then we sent that would be an MP3 file off of our iPhone into him, and then he put them all together. And it really came out beautifully. Would you agree, Fred? This is W8VE.
Well, the other thing Roger failed to mention is Roger and I had a rehearsal over the telephone with my piano, and we think we got some things right.
Fred has forgotten more about music than I'll ever know, and but yeah, I called Fred up. I said, "Help, Fred!" And so he was banging it out in the piano, and we worked together. And then I was concerned because when the choir director sent a thank you to everybody, he forgot to include Fred. And I thought, gee, I wonder if I stole Fred's PDF file.
If he could.
Quite an experience. One other thing I'll bring up about the virtual church, I think it was Palm Sunday of the week before, our governor was on. And at the end, it was on a Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock, and at the end of the service, he says, I have something to end my talk with. And it was the Malone College Choir, directed by Dr. John Peterson, who sent him an MP3 file of his virtual music, and they did what's called the Lutkin Amen. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. And it was really neat. So the Malone Choir was on the television a couple weeks ago.
Very interesting look behind the curtain, Roger and Fred. It must have been a real job, an editing job, taking all those individual parts, coming in on cell phone and whatever, and putting them all together and making it all coherent. I hope to catch that on YouTube or wherever sometime. I'll throw it out there again once more. Anyone has any stories about how they're dealing with life in the last month or so, anything that maybe you feel would be helpful to your fellow ham or anybody listening. And maybe if you're having problems, if it's caused you problems, if someone needs someone to go to the store for them or help them manage other parts of their lives, now's your chance to get it out. Over.
Dale, CARC.
For the double, I heard a PIN and another guy underneath. Whoever was not PIN, would you come back?
CAA8MNT. Well, I got an interesting phone call today. I have a doctor's appointment on the 23rd of this month, and his office called and told me to download an app for my iPhone and told me how to set it up. And she said about 15 minutes before my appointment, log into it and click on family physician, and when my time was there, he would be on the line with me. So this is going to be an experience when that happens. So I don't know how many others are going to have a virtual doctor talk to you and tell you how your health is, but it's going to be interesting to see how this is handled. With that, we'll turn everything back over to the net. This is CAA8MNT.
Report. Teledoc has been around for a while, but I don't think too many people used it. Certainly not as many as are using it lately. My wife likes it because it avoids having to, make a trip in the car and do all, rearrange your day to go see a doctor. She's generally happy with Teledoc for most of the routine stuff. Okay, PIN, Kirk, go ahead with your traffic, please.
Some information from you, Dale. When is the time and date of the net/meeting for W8AL?
Make it easy. It's always Wednesday, 7:30 is the net. And the third Wednesday at 7:30, the net becomes the meeting, basically. Not a whole lot different, except the structure's a little different. We heroically try to do voting on matters that might come up. So we're sort of feeling our way. I think we may have been the first club in the county to run a meeting over the air like that. And my understanding is other clubs in the area are doing likewise. I haven't had a chance to listen to see how they are doing voting, for example. If anyone has any comments or insights, it would be appreciated. Over.
Information there, Dale. CAPIN, back to net.
Meeting at the EOC, no word. I've spoke with Tim on different matters just once in the last week, and meetings at the EOC did not come up. I apologize, I didn't bring it up. I would assume, even if he says it's okay to come in, still got the limitations imposed by others, about 10 people or more. So that sort of kills it right there. We're talking around here today about how things are going to look in the fall. For example, a high school football game. Not too sure you're going to see 4,000 people in the stands anymore. So it is indeed a new normal, and we're having to adapt. Over.
Roger. I do have the treasurer's report, except I mislaid it. But I can bring it up. If anybody wants to see the treasurer's report, just give me your call or your email, and I'll send you the report. Dale, I did send it to you and Justin and Doug. So this afternoon. Back to you. Over.
Roger, I did see it come in. Sorry, I don't have a calendar in front of me. Will next Wednesday be the regular club meeting night? Over.
Is the third Wednesday of the month. Tonight's regular meeting night.
Okay. Doug's here. That's good. We have a secretary. We did not have reading of the minutes from previous. Treasurer's report did go out. Not sure how we would vote on that. We could have a discussion right now. If, let's say, minutes and treasurer's report were to go out on email a few days before, does the group think that some sort of voting over the air would be desirable, or some sort of just an email acknowledgement would be the right way to do this? Over.
Roger, W8VE. I believe that if there's no changes in the email, the secretary's report, there doesn't have to be a vote on it. Also, I don't believe the treasurer's report is just subject to audit, so I don't think you need to vote on the treasurer's report either. Bill or Dennis, I know you two folks are familiar with that. Is that correct? Over.
Roger, yeah, that's the way it's always been. We take your word. If no one questions it, then it stays as printed.
At one of my other meetings, I'm not much of a parliamentarian, to say the least, and if there's no changes in the secretary's report, I don't think there has to be a vote on it either. Is that correct?
Everyone votes to accept the secretary's report as printed or as modified.
Very good. Yeah, so give me a second. I could read the treasurer's report, but I don't know. We're far enough along in the meeting. The last meeting date, we had trouble with. I think Dale had some problems, and I tried to check in, but didn't work out too well. So I missed that report. But if anybody wants minutes treasurer's report. My phone is 330-309-6514, 309-6514. If you text me, I'll send you a report. That's all I have to say.
Good point anyways. Today's the 15th. It's the third Wednesday, so my calendar shows the next meeting being on 22nd, April 22nd. So that gives us a week to think this out, unless I'm not looking at the calendar right. But it would appear some sort of a vote is needed, whether we do it on the air or electronically or some other method. I don't know. So correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone on the group? The next meeting is 1 week from tonight on the 22nd. Is that correct?
No, I don't know what month you're looking at, but my April calendar says the first April 1st was the first Wednesday, the 8th was the second Wednesday, and the 15th is the third Wednesday, and that's the way it is.
I'll stand down there. So this is the meeting. Well, we didn't open up or anything. We did come to order about 2 minutes, 7:32. Last meeting we didn't complete a vote because my handheld gave out, and it was rough running business. So, what's on the table? Do we need to finalize the vote on the last two things, specifically Treasurer's report and Secretary's report, and then we have to figure out how we're going to get the ones for this month in the books?
This is CA8MNT. Dale, I believe what we might want to do is to table the vote on the two reports and have the reports emailed to the board members, and then have the board members email the secretary and the treasurer back, letting them know yay or nay. That way we don't have to basically put it over the air, so to speak. This is KA8MNT.
That sounds workable. It does. If I heard you right, it restricts the voting to board members. Not sure if the Constitution says all members have to be given the right to vote. I'm pretty sure that would be the case.
I agree with Tom. I'm not in favor of giving the treasurer's report out over the net. Now, I do have a whole list. I can send the treasurer's report to everybody that is currently paid in the club, and there's a few members that haven't been paid, that haven't paid up. But I could send an email out. Bear in mind, it doesn't have to be voted on if the report's just subject to audit. Over.
We could say it's an implied yes if you get it and you don't do anything with it. And if someone does have a correction, they could contact the author, and then a second round would go out until there are no more corrections coming back in. Maybe at that point it's an implied accepted, and we could put it down for good. I heard you say you want to make a motion. Could be, a lengthy meeting just doing vote, but hey, that's how it is. That's the new normal. That's a good idea. Any other suggestions for how to handle this sticky process?
7622.
second that motion. I think that's a good idea.
People seconded it. The last one was Tom. You were loud and clear, so Doug, why don't you use... Justin made the motion. Tom seconded it. Now, how can we vote? Okay. Justin, would you repeat the motion that is on the floor, and then we'll run a vote.
Is to send out the with no objection.
For this vote only, the ones with the treasurer's report and the minutes that would be stacked up at a meeting, we'll do the normal aye, nay stuff, correct? Justin's proposal, which has been seconded by Tom. Are there any objections, just nays, any objections to that motion? Everyone else is an implied yes, so that motion has passed. Yay, we got one item of business done, and it's a good solution, Justin. Thank you. Hope that we won't have to stack them up too long. I'm really hoping we'll get back together again. Well, certainly we'll be getting back together, some of us, at Field Day. Last I've heard, that's not been canceled, and maybe it's time to start thinking hard about that. Yeah, we are about 2 months away from Field Day.
Dale, this is Roger, W8AL. I've already talked to Amy as far as Field Day, and they're welcoming us with open arms to have Field Day out at the Dearman Farm, as we've done in the last 15 years. Over.
Good. I'm glad you were able to reach out to the Simon. That's great. So we basically have to resolve who's captain of which station, come up with split the duties up. Assuming that there's still going to be social separation in effect at that time. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. We'll just have to ask if we can run certain things or if they should be skipped. I'm thinking of the GOTA, where it's usually an operator and a guest very close. Or if people think we could do GOTA with a 6-foot separation. As far as the other stations go, most of the time it's just one person doing the operating and the logging anyways. Any comments?
Roger. John, CTCSS, are you still listening?
Yeah, it's a Roger, Roger.
I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you and I are, I think I will volunteer for you to be station captain. I know you've got the equipment ready and the new program loaded. Is that correct?
Correct. I have the new logging program, and the station is all ready to go. It's all packed up, and I will take it out and set it up here before Field Day and make sure everything works, but there's no reason to believe it shouldn't work. It hasn't gone anywhere. Go ahead.
Okay, John. Thank you, John. Yeah, and Jerry Shrigley was kind enough to bring his tent last year, and I will get with Jerry. Now, when John and I are talking, this would be the CW station, the 8020 / whatever station there where near the big telephone pole. So we can get that resolved. It'd be great to have operators, but we do have since I volunteered John to be station captain, and I'll give him a hand. So I think we're be ready to go once we get the tent set up. Back to you, Dale, W8PE.
Another area that might be tough to do with separation rules would be the communal meals that we have. Not so much during the day as people just eat and go back to operating or doing what they're doing, but usually around supper time on Saturday, it's nice to all sit around and jawbone and recount the day's activities. Might be something we have to forego this year, but as far as just having food there, I think the last 3 years it's been a pretty good deal. We go out and prepay, buy stuff, catered food. Any other comments on the refreshments part of the activity? Over.
W8DE, I guess the only comment I have is we ought to know by the May meeting how we're going to do this. I agree. We won't be able to be hobnobbing there at the pavilion as a group, but hopefully maybe by the next meeting time we'll have some direction whether we have to still do this or not. We do have two. Am I correct, though? I think we'll have 2 meetings before field day. Is that correct, Dale?
But the second one is real close to field day. It's like last minute plans and such. Like you, Roger, I'm hopeful too that some of these restrictions will be lifted. But assuming they're still in place, I think we can figure out how to have the field day. It might be a real trick to get the public to come visit. As far as getting other hams to come visit, just tell them what's up and what they have to do and what they can't do. Shouldn't be a big deal. But I'm suspicious that the general public wouldn't have much interest in going to something where there's any potential for harm.
I agree. This is Roger. Yeah, I'm just wondering. I just wonder if this thing's still. I wonder if the ARRL would cancel field day. Over.
Canceling hamvention. I would have liked to have been in that room and heard the discussion going on over that, but it was the right thing to do. Field day, I guess I'm just betting there might be mods to the rules about visitation by the public, assuming that restrictions are still in effect.
Yeah, some things to think about. As far as if it is lifted, even to the meeting, as far as food goes, my wife, I think, picked up food last 2 times, and so we don't need a lot of notice on that. Maybe 3 days notice. We got it at I can't remember where we got it at now. The pulled pork and everything. So if we give them 2 days notice or a day's notice, they're ready to go. Back to you as far as the food goes. Now, it doesn't include the snacks that we'll go to the store and get, and potato chips and the Diet Coke and pop and all that. Back to you, Dale. W8PE.
Okay, I think your president is going to put together like a spreadsheet or some sort of a document, and I'll share that with through Google Docs. Anyone that has an email will be able to look at it, add to it, edit it. It'll be sort of a group document. I will try and collect all the things that we've discussed pertaining to field day, leaving blanks to be filled in as far as station captains and different roles that have to be played. Can't say when that'll go out. By the end of this week, it'll go out, and like I said, the club, I'll just go to the Ham Club online site. I use the mailing list of all the paid up members. That'll be our official starting point. Over.
Good idea, Dale. And the one thing is to make sure that we have a list of operators. We just never have enough operators. And we're more than welcome. I know John is welcome, but we just don't even have enough phone operators. So if there's any volunteers, please come out. We'll work with you. And I know it can be a little intimidating at first, but once you get used to it. And I'll tell you what, the field day is real good at practice for if we do the Hall of Fame. Because if we're at Bill's house running his power there, it's going to be a pretty popular event. And of course, hopefully that time this thing will all be behind us. So back to you, Dale.
Okay, rest of the club is free to jump in there at any time with comments. I'll stand back for 15-20 seconds, listening for any comments about field day.
Dale, K8AGB here. As one of your trustees, I would encourage everybody to read the weekly epistles from the ARRL and also the Ohio News from Scott Yonley. Yes, field day has not been canceled by the ARRL. They're very, for the lack of a better word, wishy-washy, but yet on the other hand, encouraging participation primarily from home stations, and that this is leaning more toward this really is an emergency exercise. So all the officers, I would encourage, if you don't get the ARRL news, you really need to, and if you don't get Scott Yonley's weekly report, you really need to, and eventually the legal will have to do something. They have to be more definite. This is K8AGB.
MXAJ. Good comments. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is looking like a genuine emergency event. We are in a national emergency, and quite likely this is the first field day that was ever run during a national emergency. I know the whole hobby was shut down during World War II. Can't think of any other times. Of course, I don't go back as far as some of the other club members. Any other times where we've had to do the thing under these kind of conditions. Enough for field day. I'll get the document out by the end of the week, and we can all start adding our piece to it, looking at it, seeing where we are, and hopefully by the next club meeting, whether it be EOC or over the air, we'll have a much better plan of what we're doing and who's doing it for field day. Continuing on with the agenda, repeater status. I guess we've used it more in the last few weeks than it's probably ever been used. I'll unkey here. Anyone have any comment about the repeater? Any signal problems getting into it? Go ahead, now's your chance. glad we have a repeater to do this. Next item is the youth outreach stuff. I'm assuming that the events planned by Stark County Library are scratched. The event in October, Jamboree on the Air at Camp Tuscasorit, is still very much on. In fact, they've communicated recently that there'll be some other groups in camp, so there will be quite a crowd down there. Again, assuming that restrictions are lifted by late October. Should be wrapping up. We're getting close to it. It's been over an hour. Is there any other business that any member would like to bring before the club before we finish it up?
CTCSS. Roger, this has to do with ham radio, and our QCWA group meets at noon every Wednesday, and just want to let everybody know that the 10 meters, apparently one of the members said that 10 meters yesterday was open all day and into midnight when he went to bed. There's W8MV, Belvi, has a repeater. He has a beacon, and I think it's on Worcester, and I couldn't find it. Maybe one of you folks knows more about that than me. But what he did, he has a beacon, and he sends out a 1/4 watt, and it goes for a couple minutes on 20, 15, 12, 10, and he brought up the beacon. He brought up the beacon during the meeting for the last 24 hours, and they were heard. Now it's probably like FT8. You can call it FT8, but there was at least 12 stations that picked him up as far as I think Colorado. Familiar with Worcester or ever used it?
John, I heard your call in there. We'll get back to you. Yeah, Roger. I think it's WSPR, Whiskey Sierra Papa Romeo, and it's a good way to test out antennas and what's propagating to what. You put on these little QRP automatic things. Other stations hear you. They report what they heard and what the signal strength was. Put it on the internet. You go to a web page and see where you're being heard. We might have talked about that or had a demo for a club program maybe 3 years ago. But it's a great tool if you're comparing antennas. You know, like what's better, a ham stick or a loop? You know, well, a few hours of work with Whisper, you can find out in a big hurry. All right, back to John, K8ISS.
Hey, Dale. My comment concerns the net logger. This is the first time that I've seen it, and I have it up right now. It's very nice and very handy. We use a similar thing on the Night Watch net at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on 40 meters. They wrote their own, though, and the only thing I like better about that one is it has an instant messenger on that while other people are talking, you can talk through the IM to other people and comment on things and so forth, but and it doesn't go out on the air. Yeah. But this one's really nice, colorful. It's got a lot of info on it, and I think it's a good idea. That's my comment. Back to you, Dale.
I understand this would be computer logging, network systems together, and it would allow you to see what the other operator, who the other operator has worked, and on top of that, have a little chat window going so you could be running a chat all there with the other operators. Do I copy correctly?
Yes, that's correct. And also, when they open up the net logger at the beginning or before the net, you can log in on that and get your name on the list. And then they go down the list and they call you on the air. And you have the mic for your turn there, and then you go ahead and sign out. But they're both very good. I like this one. It's got a lot of info on it, and the other one doesn't have quite as much info, but I like them both. Back to you.
PC, and maybe put it to use next week. If I'm sharp enough to read it and understand it and figure it out in a week, but that's asking a lot. All right, thank you for that reference, John. Any other traffic for the club meeting of the Canton Amateur Radio Club before we close?
And I feel like I'm talking too much, but this NetLogger, I talked to John and I downloaded it yesterday, and the good news about the NetLogger is it does a lot of neat things, and there's a 45-day free trial, and so we could give it a try. And basically it's $25. So, you know, if NetLogger works and we want to use it for the, I assume John means we're going to use it for this net, you know, the club could easily spend $25 for it. Also, I believe John uses we used a NetLogger for field day, the field day version of it. Is that correct, John? Back over to you, John.
No, that's a negative. That's not the NetLogger. That's just a logging program. The N3FJP has several logs out of for all different contests and for just a general logging program, which is called the AC, Amateur Contact Log. But I was talking about the actual NetLogger that we're looking at now. And the one for the Night Watch net, you can't download it. You have to go to their website, and you can only use it for the Night Watch net. So. But this one's just fine. Go ahead.
Getting all confused. Okay, yeah, I don't know anything about NetLogger, and Dale, you and John can hash that out. And both you guys are sharp guys, so that'd probably be a nice way to do it. John, thanks for the information. John gets on some nets, and sounds like a good way to go to make Dale and Justin a little bit less work when everybody just clicks in beforehand.
Thanks for bringing that useful tool to our attention. And as always, we're looking for alternate net control operators. So far, I've been able to be here. There won't be traveling on company business. There is no travel on company business until further notice. So, and as much as I hate to say it, no vacation, no anything. So I'll be here in Canton for a while. But that doesn't mean we're still not looking for other net control ops, because people can get sick or things can happen. So anyone is interested in that job, you all know how to get a hold of me. So one final call for any final words, and I will ask, if nothing is heard, I'll make a motion. We adjourn. Nothing in there. Fred, was that you?
Our visitor from Massachusetts with the N2 call has tried a couple times, but evidently he's on low battery or N2 EZF. He's over, I think, in Perry Township or Masson. Don't know what he's using for a radio, but he's tried a couple times, but he's been covered up. Over.
Someone listening to him on direct?
Zulu Foxtrot, and I apologize. I did get in earlier. I had not tried any other than the one time I did get in. I got sidetracked and taken away from the radio for a bit.
Just wanted to make sure if anyone had any traffic that they had a chance. So Once again, before we make that motion to adjourn, final call. Any traffic for the club net? Over. JKT, if you could turn your mic gain up, that would be helpful, but go ahead, I hear you. As usual, Justin, you're very helpful. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, I will make a motion to release this repeater to general amateur use. That means the club meeting will be over with. Anyone like to second that?
W8VE, Roger. I'll second that.
Anyone has an objection can come back on the next key up. Otherwise, thank you all for attending tonight. And we did it. 2 meetings in the books conducted over the repeater. Nice talking to everybody. 73. Here's NXHA.
This is W8VE. John, you still there?
Roger, I'm still here. This is CTCSS, and thank you, Justin. That works just fine. You probably got my answer there on the instant messenger. Go ahead, Roger. From CTCSS. You there, Roger? This is CTCSS.